Hello, my name is Dr. Shelley Cameron, and it's a pleasure to be here with my dear colleagues. And we were here to talk to you today about navigating your career transition during the holidays. Now, the holiday seasons are definitely upon us, and it's one of my most exciting period. But what happens at the end of the year is that we start looking at the upcoming year. So we're reflecting on what is happening. So we thought that with everyone looking at their career, whether it's career leading into a new entrepreneurship or whatever, then we thought it would be good to speak about navigating the career transitions during the holiday, which is a very busy season. So we're going to get into a few things to share with you right now. And I'm going to start with the fact that we need to reflect, to look back and reflect. What we also need to do is to reflect on what is happening in our own environments. It's a time for self-reflection during the holidays. Where are we going? The career, entrepreneurship goals. And we look at what our strengths and areas of growth are. Secondly, we spoke at myself and Maxine Barnett, who is here as well, and she will share a little bit about herself as we progress. We spoke about goal setting. And in that regard, we spoke about setting clear and achievable career goals for the upcoming year. You will find the link in below as we progress so that you can look at it and understand the whole gamut of goal setting. We spoke about SMART goals. And Maxine, if you want to just mention quickly what SMART goals involves, just for an overview. And if you want to introduce yourself a little bit as well.
Sure. So I am Maxine Barnett, a colleague of Dr. Shelley. I am an executive and career coach. I came out of corporate as a corporate executive, particularly a human resource and organization development executive. And I've worked with organizations as a consultant, as a trainer, as a coach, where we help leaders in particular and leaders at various levels to hone and leverage their soft skills for business success. So in order for a business to be successful, we must set goals. And when we talk about goals, we talk about goals being SMART, yes? So yes. A goal that is not specific is really just like a dream or desire or wish, so goals must be specific, they must be measurable, they must be achievable. Yes, there must be a stretch. There must be a stretch, so we're going towards something, but they must be realistic and achievable. And I say that's the A, and the R is realistic. And the T, most important, they must be time bound. And as we set goals like that, using that model, we make ourselves ready now to start planning for whatever it is, whether it's transition or whether it's to move to the next level, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Back to you, Dr.
And as we like I said, there is a whole video on that. You will see the link there, so you can check it out yourself. Now, as we move into our next point is networking and relationship building. Networking is an opportunity during the holidays because you have a lot of holiday parties, and you need to learn how to subtly communicate what your career intentions are. Absolutely. And that's very important. So it is the key to building strong connections which can help you to increase the opportunities that are available. It fuels learning, growth, support, and encouragement. So that's what it does. Networking is such a critical piece that you can capitalize during the holiday season. Also join professional organizations, attend the events that they have, and then offer to help where you can, because all of that helps you with understanding and the networking environment. Maxine, is there anything you'd like to jump in to say here?
Sure. Networking is one of my favorite topics. One is networking is indeed a soft skill. So it's one of my favorite topics. But I like to share we network with a purpose. You don't just turn up at these, especially this time of the year, these activities just in our classes and, shake hands and that kind of thing. When you go to these networking events, have a purpose and a plan to walk away with meeting at least 2 or 3 persons you had never met before. It doesn't make sense going to these events and just hobnobbing with the same people that you know all the time. You come away with at least 2 or 3 numbers, whatever. And there are various ways you can share. The business card is still there, but there are ways that people are sharing electronically now that, makes it even easier. Quickly, you're going to each other's LinkedIn right there at the networking event. So take advantage of that. And when you leave the event, make sure that within a day or two you follow up, because the person you may have met may have so many other persons on their radar. The other thing I like to talk about networking is that networking is not only for the external. People neglect that they can network on the inside, right where they are. And that's how they get mentors and champions and that kind of thing. So take advantage of networking on the inside also. Yes?
Exactly. That's perfect, Maxine. And the thing is that we also have a video on the on networking as well. So you will see that link as well being shared. The next point I'd like to talk about is upgrading your skills during the holidays. Now you're looking around for a job and you might look and you might see that you're missing some skills. It's so important for you to be able to connect the dots. Connect the dots in that job that is advertised with your own skills. And if you find there's a skill that you're not very good at, sometimes you can find a course that will take you many hours. It can take you a week if you do it in a speed, as well as there are some workshops that last 2 days, different things that you can get to practice to upgrade your skills. And I have had people who have done that, and they have come back in 2-3 days. To give them over the weekend to come back by the following week and see how much you have learned, and they mastered it. Well, I wouldn't say the word master, but they know enough. So in short time, they're able to master the skill. So it exists, and it's the holidays, a time of stepping back. So it would be good to utilize it to gain, to upgrade your skills.
Dr.
The
Shelley,
next point,
I'd just like to add to that, not only upgrading, but even taking time to refresh. Sometimes
yes, of course.
we need to refresh something that we've learned before, and we
right.
But it's great to refresh. Most of the training that I do, I always offer follow-ups and refreshers. Yes.
Exactly. So it is not, when we say upgrade your skills, it doesn't necessarily mean new skills, but existing skills that if you even talk about the technical skills that a lot of persons have, and you might look at simple things like Microsoft Office. There might be a new job that you have to know the latest in Microsoft Excel. And in that regard, that's a simple one, but in that regard, it can help you as well. So there's a lot of information out there. So the next point is to leverage seasonal opportunities, right? Leverage seasonal opportunities. There's a lot of holiday events, as we mentioned before, that are happening, and you can seek out informational interviews on those areas that you're interested in. So you attend these events, and when you attend the events, you look at who is in the room, and you can walk up and you can ask if you are able to come and see them. People are very, very happy. Executives are happy to invite someone in to share with them what they do and a day in the life off. So you're able to see and experience what happens in that role that you're potentially looking for. And this happens in any industry at all. The other point I wanted to chat a little bit about is craft that elevator pitch. So what you're doing is you're going to that event during the holidays, you're capitalizing on it. And then when you do that, you find that you don't know what to say, you're tongue-tied. So I would ask Maxine, my dear friend Maxine, to go ahead and just share a little bit about the elevator pitch. And Maxine, if you could just repeat what yours is, then that would help.
Okay.
As an example.
Right. So when we still talking about meeting up at these holiday events and so on, and people are meeting different people at the time, and they don't have time to really hear a whole paragraph. So we have to learn how to say what we do in a sentence, actually, and that is a sentence that it leaves an impression with them that they may remember us. Yes. So as she asked me to say what I do, so because I'm in many of these events from time to time, both virtually and in person, because of course COVID taught us how to do these things virtually. So I am Maxine Barnett. I'm the founder and CEO of Soft Skills Services. At Soft Skills Services, we help leaders to hone and leverage their soft skills for business success. And that is enough to, for a future, the person may ask something else, and then you are able to say a little more. But it is enough now if that person has to move on to. I was sharing with Dr. Shelley earlier this year. I was at a event in San Francisco, and I walked in when the event, they were socializing and so on already. And I'm adding this on to the elevator speech. So I had to take some of my own medicine, where I had to decide, well, okay, I'm walking, who am I going to speak with as I walk in? Because that's another thing that some people have a challenge with. And I always advise, go to the bar, ask for a drink. And while that person is getting the drink, you're scanning the room, you're scanning, because you're trying to decide who you're going to go and speak with if you're going to break into a conversation that's going on there. Because once you break into that conversation, you have to be prepared to say who you are. So I always advise that for starters. And I literally had to, okay, I'm going to go to speak with that person. Because what's interesting is there's always someone else in the room who's doing the same thing that you're doing. Not everybody there know everyone. So get the drink. By the time you get the drink, you've made the decision, you know what you're going to say. And that says just about one sentence, one mouthful that they can remember.
And as I remember, our discussion on that, Maxine, I remember mentioning that it doesn't mean you're going to the bar to get drunk, to drink hard liquor and get drunk. No, it's not necessarily that. It's just what she said. You get a drink, whatever type of drink you like.
Gives you time.
And then it gives you time to be able to look around the room. Thank you so much, Maxine. So the other point I wanted to look at is updating your professional materials, right? So that's very, very important. So you may take the time to look at your resume, and the interviewers are usually, as organizations are usually interested in the last 10 years of your career. You may have 15 years and so on, but some skills are out of date. So look at it and refresh your resume according to what the job you're looking for is, or the job that you're actively applying for. So look at it and match each skill. And likewise, your LinkedIn profile is an area that you can look at. And as a leadership coach myself, I help individuals to do that, to create the LinkedIn profile and so on. And I Maxine, if you don't mind, I might share that I had worked with Maxine also to create hers, and that was years ago. And what Maxine has successfully done, I think she has used it so much as a tool, not in her case for a career, but for the leadership role that she plays in guiding organizations. And since then, Maxine has even worked in Dubai, and I know she was talking the other day about a Korean person reaching out to her and so on. So it actually works. LinkedIn profile, a professional LinkedIn profile, actually works very well for you. But garbage in, garbage out, that's my saying. So you got to fix it the way and tailor it to what you're looking for. Of course, as entrepreneurs, and you will hear or two other guests speak about it later on, the entrepreneurship is also very important for LinkedIn. And I spoke about Maxine because she uses hers not necessarily for career search for a job, but for entrepreneurship goals. And I might just add as well, as you're preparing your professional materials, you also look at how you're going to dress. That's a whole other thing in and of itself, because virtual interviews and in-person interviews as well, you still have to dress accordingly, so you can put your professional self forward. It doesn't matter if you're going for a job in what is it, one of those first level positions. It doesn't matter. First impression actually is very important. So get yourself.
It takes 3 seconds. It takes 3 seconds, they say, to form the first impression.
Of course, and I'm glad you mentioned that, Maxine. 3 seconds. And some job search strategies that you can apply are using online job boards, right? Again, we spoke about networking. Those are some job search strategies, and reaching out to recruiters. Don't be afraid. Recruiters are always there. Reach out to them, use that elevator speech that we mentioned, and you will be able to speak with them and, connect with them about what it is that you're looking for. We also provide those information if you're working with us as coaches, and then you will be adequately able to prepare. So the next point I wanted to get into as well is to manage expectations. And it is very important to manage your job expectations during your job search. Rejections happen. Remember that. Rejections happen. but resilience is key.
Another soft skill, resilience.
Of course, you gotta keep at it. You gotta keep going. You can't throw the towel in the air just because you were rejected. It's gonna happen, and sometimes organizations know who they're looking for too. Maybe I shouldn't be saying that too, but it happens as well. So they advertise the position and they think that's maybe 2 or 3 candidates, maybe internally, as well as potentially externally. So they advertise it. And then the persons who are not selected may feel a little bit rejected. Don't give up hope, because the next time something might come around and then you're going to be the lucky person and somebody else will be rejected in like manner. So just keep the forth and keep going and be as resilient as you can. Again, we will help you with that if you sign up for our services. The other thing I wanted to mention as well is balancing self-care. Now, self-care is absolutely important, especially at the holidays. It is absolutely important, managing self-care. You need to find that balance, and especially if you're doing that career transition, that is very important, that you don't get so caught up in it that you're not enjoying anything else. The holiday season is a time to rest and rejuvenate. So there are some things that you can do. You can chill at home with family, laugh a lot with them. You've not seen them in a while. And you can go to the spa. Money or not, ask for that as a gift. Go to the spa and just chill for a day. I like the word chill. Just relax and
chillax
for the day. Connect with an old friend. That's something that we've not been doing, especially now that we're in the virtual world. Because I have the 2 colleagues that we're talking about that will be speaking later. One is in New York, the other one is in Canada. And Maxine is in Washington, D.C. And I'm in Florida. So we're all over the place. So if you can connect, and it can be that if you connect virtually, it works just the same. But if you can connect in person, that also works as well. And some other little things that you can do is look at photos of happy moments, and you get those memories going back. I sometimes hear people from high school having reunions, or connecting, looking at pictures, and then decide to have the reunion because of it. So those are some things that you can do. Reflect on activities that stretch you, that makes you successful, and then just accept yourself. There's so much talk about people looking on social media and envying others. Don't do that. Just focus on your best self. Create your best self. Understand who you are. Go back to that first slide, the first discussion that we had about reflection. Reflect on what the year brought you. Reflect on the good things. Don't only reflect on those bad, because we can carry forward goals from one year into the next year. So it's important that you balance yourself during that period of time. And I will jump into seeking support. Seek support from a coach or a mentor. There are many benefits of having professional guidance. Spoke about some of them before. I had one person I was working with, and what that person did was couldn't hear from them for a little bit. And then finally, when I was connected with the person, it's a gentleman, he told me that he had left his job. Oh my God. We actually were working together. He got the job, and then things got a little bit hard, and he gave it up. And he was hiding from the coach, would have said to him, hold on a little bit, find something else. So don't just give up the job that you have, but find something else to do. Don't give up the opportunity that you currently have, but find something else in the meantime to do. Search for another opportunity. Search, because when you give up, now he's, of course, no financial means coming in, and he's into another desperate and demotivated and need to start all over again. Lots of persons have done that. I've had to clean up so many in organizations. When they come to me, they resign and then realize, oh my God, I did the wrong thing. Whether I was working in the organization as well, or externally, people who have come to me, they give up sure for unsure. So take it easy, relax, go back to those things that you can do to take your mind off the stress, and then recoup and connect with a coach or mentor. Maxine, is there anything you'd like to jump in here and share?
So just before you move on to invite our special guest to speak, just want to talk about coaching a bit, and the need for a coach. Now, some people think that only if something is wrong with someone that they need a coach. I like to let people know that everyone needs a coach. All
Right.
of us need a thinking partner, an accountability partner, a cheerleader, someone who can hold
Right.
the mirror up to us and, you know, help us to see our blind spots. So that's where I would like to leave my part and
Right.
to
And I would also say
all
to you,
need a
Maxine, that
hmm
coaches
hmm
themselves need coach.
That's
We
why I said we
also
all need a coach.
we work, right.
We
And
all
people
need a
don't
coach. Yes,
necessarily understand that. So we're coached
exactly.
as well as
hmm
coaches. And I think it's
Yeah.
a strength when you realize your limitations, or if you find yourself saying, oh gosh, I'm really going to give up on this, like in the example I used before, then you reach out to someone, and a coach is the person who is there to help you. It can also be a very good friend, but I've always cautioned, be careful of the
Careful
friends
with
that
that.
you speak
Yes.
with. Right.
Be careful with
So
that.
seek professional help.
You need
And the
someone
other
who will
point,
tell you sometimes things you don't want to hear.
right, exactly.
Yes.
So the next point is to build a transition plan.
Mhm.
Develop a structured career transition plan with actionable steps and timeline, right? And what I've created is an executive or professional exit plan. So you can connect with me and I will share, we will work together on that structured approach, that step-by-step approach that that works for you in order for you to make that structured exit from the organization that you want to go, leave, or you want to go into entrepreneurship. There is a way to do it, a step-by-step process, and that always works for us.
And that structured plan may also include don't leave in the moment. Don't leave as yet.
Of course.
It may also include don't leave as yet, because I have a story like yours, where someone came to me and tell me, oh, I'm going to leave. And it's a long story that I wouldn't tell now, maybe another time. But by the time I say, hold on, go back to the HR executive, ask these questions. They had plans for her that she didn't even know. And she's now one of their regional operations.
Exactly.
That's a short
And
version.
This is also something that we as coaches, we work with organizations as well. Because sometimes the managers, the leaders of the team, what I found is that they don't share with employees that they are on a path. We call it succession planning. So when you don't share, the employee becomes sometimes frustrated, think they're not valued and all, when there's a whole thing that is happening behind the scenes for them. So in those cases, that's where we coach the organizational leaders as the right way and how to communicate it. You don't necessarily have to promise the employee anything, but at least share the employee, say thanks a lot, acknowledge their efforts, and things like that are some ways to let the employee know that they're valued. Now I'll move to tailoring the message. Tailoring the message is for those who are applying for jobs during the holidays. Customize the job application. We spoke about this a little bit before, but customize the job application so that it aligns with the job description that is advertised on LinkedIn, on Indeed, all of those places that you tailor it. Don't say you're looking for let's say, what is it? We're looking for a job as IT, but I am in marketing and there's no connection. So you're sending out your IT resume in the same manner as it is, but I'm applying for a marketing job. No, you gotta go through that, because of course you can change careers. So you have to go through that resume and connect the experiences that you have had to the job that you're looking for. Explore the company, to find out about them, the background about the company and all, and then tailor it according to what their goals are that is advertised in the job description, as well as the big picture. What are their visions, missions, and all of that? And then you put that in, and that also helps, especially when you're doing your interview, you're going to woo them with all of that. And they're not expecting you to do all of those. Those are the people who get the job. The effort and time that you have invested in it allows you to get that job that you're looking for. Now, as we're moving on, managing stress. We spoke about self-care before, but I wanted to deep dive a little bit into managing stress. Managing stress during transition is really, really very important. And if you're thinking of the holiday season, it makes it even so more, because you're running around to get those gifts. You're running around if you didn't plan before, right? And that's what it starts with, planning ahead. So if you plan to leave, then you have to have a plan in place, right? Stay organized, stay on plan. And one of the biggest stressors is financial. right? The holidays are a season of getting gifts and giving gifts, and sometimes you don't have the means to give it to, but some gifts doesn't have to come with financial. It might just be, I'll offer to babysit for the person, things like that. But if you're going back to financial, where what is suggested is to have at least 4 to 6 months of money set aside, that if you're deciding to leave your job, which we don't recommend, but if you're walking away from that job, then have at least 4 to 6 months money set aside in order for you to do what you need to do, right? And survive without too much stress. If you have more, it makes sense as well, because sometimes the ideal job you're looking for doesn't even come around for 6 months. Sometimes it comes around in the first month. Sometimes you're lucky it comes around in the first week, but not all the time. So it's important to save and delegate, and let your family know that you're seeking their support during the time. It might be that you have to take an interview or do an interview when the family is around. Lock yourself in a room and just share with them before that you're going to do an interview, or you're applying for a position that may take you. Unfortunately, the job applications sometimes take an hour, 30 minutes to an hour, and those are long. And I know HR people are working very hard on reducing the time invested to do those applications, because it's turning away, especially millennials and the Gen Zers, it's turning them away. So they're working on that, as I know. But in the meantime, it's taking you quite a while. And set boundaries with your family. If they know that you're job hunting, then they will understand. Maxine, any comments here?
No. I think you covered it all, particularly in that area. You covered it all.
Okay, thank you. And then celebrating success. I chatted about myself. I don't celebrate enough because I'm an achiever. So I tend to take it for granted whenever I achieve a goal. But it's very, very important to celebrate.
Even the small successes, yes.
Even the small successes, the step by step. I'm doing application for a position. I plan to do it once a week. I plan to do it once a day. And if you do it, celebrate little things. Give it yourself little things. If you're doing the exercise as Maxine had spoken about before, and you've done it 3 times, you're doing it 3 times for the week, celebrate each day that you go. It encourages you to go to the next time. So celebrate as you go on. And I'm actually working on that for myself. Not the exercise necessarily, but celebrating, because it's important. It encourages, and it is something that needs to be done. And finally, I would mention, remain open to opportunities. Opportunities come in disguise. You're looking at it in one way, and the opportunity shows up in another way. But guess what? It still is an opportunity. So be prepared for it to come in any ways at all. Remain open to different opportunities that may arise during the holiday season.
And networking with various groups. That's how many opportunities.
Exactly.
I heard you mention earlier on the person who contacted me from Korea. We were just part of one of those networking groups. I didn't even know that she had recognized me or knew me, and she called me and asked me, can I give my sister your contact information?
Yes.
I said, of course.
Of course.
Anytime I said, of course, the sister had reached out to me. And the next thing I know, an entire contract came out of that. I knew none of them. We've never met in person.
Exactly.
So that's how some of these things can happen.
Yes. And that's where the LinkedIn profile also comes in, because sometimes when they look at the profile, they realize, oh, you're connected to him, that person, and then you're able to reach out and say, what do you know about it? And guess what? Recruiters do the same thing. So make sure that the preparing of your profile is done wisely. And now it's the moment that I'd like to share with you with our 2 other guests that are here that will share with us about their experts. They're experts in the field, and they're going to share on branding and their experiences with you. And I will start with Camacho Roberts, and he will share a little bit about himself with you. Camacho?
Hello, and thanks for having me, Dr. Shelley, and good hearing your insights, Maxine. My name is Camacho Roberts. I am 22 years in service in the U.S. Army, and I'm also the founder of Lensmaster Studios, photography business, and I do photography, and I'm trying to improve my videography skills as well. So my little background story with that is with photography. While I was in South Korea in 2015, that's where it became a passion to me. And when I got back stateside in 2016, I decided fully to invest in becoming a professional photographer. So, based on some of the things that I've heard both of you talked about so far, I am reminded I need to update my LinkedIn profile. I haven't touched it in a long time. So, yes, thanks for that reminder.
Of course.
As far as branding goes, or speaking of transitioning into a dream career field, I would say it's important for each individual to be honest with themselves and also be honest with their target audience or whoever they would like to connect with. And the reason why I say be honest with yourself is be honest with the goals that you set, and what you really want to get out of what you're doing. For me personally, the goals I usually set in trying to connect with people and meeting their needs is I try to always do something or find something that adds value to their life. And it's important that we all as individuals try to think outwardly towards how we can impact people instead of what we can get for ourselves. Also, what Dr. Shelley said about self-care, it's very important to have that balance in your life. Make sure you're taking time for yourself and think about your needs, especially. This is where you can be selfish and really put yourself first. And it's okay to do that without guilt. As far as branding goes, it's important that you represent your brand fully about yourself. This is also being honest with yourself, as I said before as well. So try not to jump on the train of just doing things that are popular out there. It's good to see other people in the field doing what you would like to do, but make sure you make it your own as best as you can. And think of each experience as a unique experience. For me, for example, when I'm doing photography work with clients, I try not to have I don't go by having set packages for the type of event that I'm covering. I like to talk to each person or client to see what they're looking for, and I try to prioritize their experience over mine because it's really about them and not me. So be ready to listen, be ready to be patient, and also be ready to try new things. Each time you do something, I encourage you to add something new to the niche of what you're working in.
Yeah. So I know I see you on Instagram that I know that you're very active on. And when I see some of your photographs that you have placed there, they're not the normal photographs. You do it with a twist. So it's the same thing you're seeing, but it's done with a twist. Can you share with us a little bit about your process?
Okay. My process with photography is, well, first of all, I do a lot of research. I'm a big student of cinematography and camera angles. So maybe some of what you're talking about, Dr. Shelley, is maybe I catch this similar subject that other people may see, but I do it from a different angle or try different, just different things out of the box with it. And that's where experimenting comes into play. I also try to talk with people sometimes before to let them know while we're shooting, I may do things when they're not looking because I love to catch candid moments because I feel that's when the subject is their most true self, when they're not posing or trying to prepare for something. So be as authentic as possible.
If I may, Camacho, you said something that was music to my ears earlier on when you talked about doing what you do in terms of seeing more what you can give more than what you get. And that is, as I said, that's music to my ears, because in our conversation on networking with a purpose, that was my main theme. And what's interesting is, as you do that, as the more you give, you'll be surprised how much you get.
Yes,
Getting
yes.
as your main purpose. Yes, yes.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Camacho. Is there any other point you wanted to make, or that's it?
Well, I'll ask you, is there anything that I haven't touched that you would want me to speak on?
No, I think you've said it pretty well, and I think to summarize, what I heard mainly from you is continuous learning, and I think your travels to unique places has also opened your eyes to a lot of things. So maybe that also has influenced the approach that you make to your work with your clients.
Yes, absolutely.
So
And
thank
with
you.
that said, I would definitely say be open to your experiences and just be willing to step outside your comfort zone. And also for the people who are pursuing different career fields, or if you want to step out on your own as an entrepreneur, don't be afraid to break the mold. You might be the first person to do something that you have an idea on. So we need your idea to share with the world and impact our community in positive ways. And also, something that has always stayed in my heart is, if you're going to do something, I know we need income and money, but it's also important that whatever thing you choose, that it's something that you're passionate about, because the money will get old and it won't drive you for the long term, as if it was something that you have close to your heart, that you're passionate about. So the money is great, but when you love what you do, you tend to be willing and able to do it. Even that's the payment. It's the satisfaction you get out of it.
That's right. Thank you so much. And I always like to counter that kind of argument with Usain Bolt, because I mean, he has really made a unique contribution to our society of sports. I see all the athletes now at the World Games. They're bringing some unique spin, dancing, whatever it is. Usain Bolt with his thing, that stands out for me, and no others have looked on and are now putting that spin on it. So thank you very much, Camacho. Really appreciated your share. And I'll jump now to Gregory Turner, and I'll ask you, Gregory, to introduce yourself and your entrepreneurship role that you play.
So hello, everyone. My name is Gregory Turner. Thank you, Dr. Cameron, for inviting me to speak today. It's been a pleasure to share the panel with everyone here. Maxine, Camacho, it's a pleasure. A little about myself. I'm an entrepreneur and a business developer with a strong background in the technology industry. So, information technology industry, software developments, and engineering, right? So my company is called Intelligent Incorporated, and what we do, our clients call us when they have a very important goal that they need to accomplish, and they're looking for the strategy and the roadmap of how to realize that goal, to deliver on that goal, right? So that's where we fit into the lives of our clients. And today, I want to share a little bit about entrepreneurship and the journey of that, right? So I'll start with most important. I think whenever we go into entrepreneurship, we think of how do we have success. A lot of us are experts in our area. So it might be something technical like engineering and so on. Maybe we're a good accountant, right? And that's why we say, we can do this on our own, right? Instead of working within the framework of maybe a larger corporation. So one of the areas, so I've consulted with many businesses on how to position themselves, how to market themselves, and really how to grow and scale their business, right? And the first thing that I would share is, with anyone, the first thing I would try to pull from someone is who's your audience, right? You can be an accountant. I'll use an accountant, for example. I'm not an accountant, so that's not my area of expertise, but just picking something generic, right? Who are you doing accounting for, right? Where's the biggest need in the market, and where do you fit in? Because entrepreneurship is really not about you, right? So I know some people say, I don't like working for anyone, so I'm going to start my own business. Well, newsflash, when you go into business for yourself, you work for everyone. It's a big responsibility, right? So if that's the reason why you're going into it, it's probably not the best reason, because obviously you're going to have clients, and clients, I think they have less tolerance than your boss if you're working in a protected by HR and the labor laws and so forth. So I would say that first thing you got to ask yourself from a business development perspective is, who's your clients, right? One of the things I've helped consulted and helped clients with in the past is creating what we call an avatar, right? So you're creating a profile of what your ideal client looks like. What are they thinking? What are their interests? How much money do they make? Right? What's motivating them to look for the service that you're offering, right? So understanding your clients it's probably the most important part about business. There's other important areas as well, but obviously if you don't have a customer, then you don't have a business, right? So there's that component that's very important, understanding your clients. And then the next thing is knowing what are their pain points. And I think this applies not just in entrepreneurship, but also in your career. Even if you're an employee working within, say, corporate America, for example, where do you deliver value, right? Like, if you are able to articulate where you deliver your value, you will always find someone will always be able to put you into their plans, right? You'll always be able to grow. And I think sometimes as folks who know how to do our jobs, we sometimes get disconnected from what does it mean in the big picture, right? So as an entrepreneur, as an employee, it doesn't matter, right? It's all about value at the end of the day. And so just like Maxine was sharing about networking, you're going there to network, but do not be too focused on yourself, because other people are in the same position that you're in, and they're thinking that they have a need, right? So when you understand, where do I fit into this person's life, then you'll be able to communicate better and really make a connection, right? So when you introduce yourself to someone, when someone sees an ad, whatever communication happens, everyone's thinking about their life, right? So they're thinking, oh, I have a problem with, my taxes, maybe I'm not making enough money, maybe I'm paying too many taxes, I'm just speaking from an accountant perspective, right? So maybe my books are behind by a few years, I owe the IRS money. There's so many things people are dealing with every single day, right? So knowing where you fit into that person's story is very important, right? So we're all the star in our own lives, right? We're the lead character, and we're all living a story. We all have our experiences, right? And every single day, a new chapter is added to that story, a new page is added to that book, right? Where do you fit into your ideal client's story is very important. So I would say, as an entrepreneur, thinking about that's probably where I spend a lot of the mental work is really focused on that. And the minute that you get disconnected from that, you start to see things decline, not just in your business, but in your career, right? If it's just all internal about me, people will see that and they're going to say, this person doesn't really fit into whatever I'm dealing with right now, whatever my missions are, right? So being able to know value, knowing what value you have to offer to your ideal clients is very important, right? Communication, soft skills, right? So just like Max here, that's so important, right? You have to be able to communicate, right? So I'd say probably when it comes to careers, there's a value. I learned this recently, right? That there's a value ladder, right? There's a reason why a CEO gets paid what the CEO gets paid, right? Because the CEO is a chief communicator. The CEO has to have excellent soft skills, right? The CEO has to know how to network, right? And build relationships. Relationships run the world, right? You know, in Jamaica, I'm originally from Jamaica, and they tell you have to have links, right? Links mean relationships,
Connection,
right?
yes.
So on the value ladder, the person who communicates well is the most valuable. Like they'll be the most paid person, no matter what, right? The person who knows how to, maybe, balance a book, right? It's using the accountant perspective again. Someone who knows how to create a balance sheet, maybe, update QuickBooks, they'll be the lowest paid person in the value ladder because, that's technical, it's hands-on, you can probably, with AI coming, you could probably use AI to replace that in a few years, right? But, and I encourage, if it's possible for anyone focused on their career, develop your communication skills, right? So as an entrepreneur, you might be going into business for yourself, develop your communication skills. You can find, if you're an accountant, you can if you develop your communication skills and you become a leader, you can find 10 accountants to work for you, right? And it's interesting, I use the accountant perspective because a lot of people that I know who are successful business owners, they actually started off in that area. But they developed their communication and leadership skills and was able to now leverage themselves or place themselves, right? And then I would say as a mission for everyone, regardless of, what you're doing in your career, whatever your career is, to create businesses or is to work within a business, is always be learning, right? You will grow as fast as you learn. So one of my most valuable, I'd say it's an investment, is my investment in Audible. I don't want to, push Audible, but just having a platform where I can get books. Everything that I'm experiencing, I find a book that and I use Audible because I can listen to it. It's faster than reading. Sometimes I can listen to it when I'm driving or whatever. But it's learning quickly. The faster you learn, the faster you grow. Right. And that's very important. If you have to be able to take in information and apply that information. So that's probably the most, like communication you learn from, you can take a book about communication, you can take a book about branding, you can, just being able to take that information, absorb it, take your notes, strategize, how am I going to execute this in my life, right? It's very important. Probably more important than the music you listen to. And music is communication too. Music is teaching you, right? But ultimately, like that I think is very important. And then, I know we spoke a bit about branding, right? So I'll speak a little bit about my experience with branding. So your brand is what people say about you, not what you say about yourself, right? You should protect your brand at all costs, and you should live your life in a way that you leave a good impression onto others, right? And be proud of who you are. So one of the things that I did in my career that made a big difference, branding wise, is writing a book, right? Establishing yourself as an authority in your industry you don't have to be an entrepreneur, but just as a professional, just establishing yourself as an authority in your industry is paramount when it comes to people coming to you. So if you're seen as an authority, the opportunities will be coming to you. You don't have to write a resume for you to find a job, right? People will be seeking you out, right? And I know, Maxine, you mentioned LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn is a great opportunity for branding. If you do your LinkedIn right, recruiters will come to you, right? If you're an author, this is one platform. Like having a book, it's fairly unique. A lot of people don't do it, right? It being an author allowed me to speak, to be on the radio, allowed me to be on TV, right? It got me invited to so many places that I wouldn't be able to go if I was just a guy handing out a business card, right? So to me, like from my experience, that was one of the most effective steps that I took was building myself as an authority by putting it into a book and then sharing that book with other people, right? So that is key. And in today's world, really, it's never been easier to really put yourself out there and to be seen by people all over the world. There's YouTube, right? You can podcast. If you create a podcast like this, for example, could be a podcast episode. You launch it as a podcast, it will get distributed on Google's platforms, Apple's platforms, Spotify, everywhere, right? So just like that, just by creating a podcast and putting it into a distribution channel, you could be on networks, probably networks you've never even heard of, right? That's just distributing your work, right? That gives you reach way beyond what you could probably imagine right now, right? So it's hard to calculate. That's how big it is. It's infinite. So just podcasting, creating a YouTube channel, right? Leveraging your social media, right? Things like that helps you to build yourself as an authority. And when you do that, the opportunities come to you because people see you, right? And you might build something or create something and it might not seem like it's getting any traction, but just keep doing it, because at the end of the day, you don't need the whole world coming to you. You probably just need one person or 10 persons to come to you, right? So don't judge yourself too harshly. Don't look at what other people are doing. Don't put yourself into the lens of others and say, well, this person, John down the street, his social media, he's got 10 million followers and I've got 100. No, don't do that, right? Just go out there and do the work. That's it. And trust that the work will take care of you. Yeah. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Gregory. I think as your last point about being an author, I have even seen myself, like you, I have seen where it has benefited me a lot. I know Maxine is coming out with hers in 2024. As fellow authors, I'll be there with her. That's one of her goals, and that will be accomplished. The other thing is I saw where through the analytics, I saw where my books were bought in Australia, and I'm wondering, oh my God, who bought them? So that's the reach, the extent of the reach that books can take you someplace that you may not go or have been, but others are listening to your voice, hearing you, seeing your things out there, and reaching out to you. So I want to say thank you very much to our speakers today, Maxine, my colleague and fellow coach. Thank you very much, Gregory. I really want to say thanks. You took us into deep dive into branding that we were not necessarily expecting, and you did it so eloquently that anyone can just listen to this, whether it is turning into a podcast, as you said, or into the YouTube that we will send it out into as well, so they can hear and learn. We hope that transition in your career, this will help you going into this very busy holiday season. I think people have even jumped over Thanksgiving, going straight to Christmas, because things are moving so fast. But we're hoping to create this platform that you can start preparing yourself, and it shouldn't really just be starting. But if you need to fast forward, you can reach out to myself or Maxine Barnett. We're available on LinkedIn. And I wanted you guys to share exactly where people can find you. I am on LinkedIn. I'm also on shellycameron.com and ccahr.com. And you can find me there. I'm most active also on LinkedIn and Instagram. Anywhere, just put my name in and you will find me. I'm here available to help you to reach higher. My goal and focus is on leadership, developing leaders, and also developing those individuals themselves to achieve greater heights. So reach out to me. I'm always available to you anytime. Maxine, you want to share where they can find you?
Sure. First begin, let me just say thank you, Dr. Shelley, for inviting me to be part of this forum. And it has been a joy and pleasure, Gregory, to have met you. I hope we can connect and stay in touch. Yes, and I can be found at softskillservices.com. I'm also on LinkedIn. You can also connect on LinkedIn. Yeah. I coach individuals. I coach teams. I do quite a bit of team coaching. I did a lot of that this year. And I work with organizations as they want to be in transition. I work primarily with the teams or individuals or groups that want to be in transition. And it can be onboarding, it can be promotion, it can be transfer in and out, whatever form of transition. I am here to work with you, whether it's coaching or training.
Excellent. Gregory, where can they find you?
Okay, so you can find me on LinkedIn, Gregory Turner. I'm present on LinkedIn, very active there. Also, my company, Intigent Incorporated, it's intigent.ca, so intigent.ca. That's our company, and we help our clients with achieving their big goals, right? So you have a goal, you need to have the right strategy. We help to bring that out for you, and then we help you to create objectives and key results that need to occur in order to meet those goals, right? So ultimately, working with us, you'll get there, right? We have workshops, we have online education as well, and we do coaching as well, strategy coaching and objective and key results coaching as well. So yeah, you can find us on intigent.ca.
Okay. Thank you so much, Gregory. And Camacho had to leave, and he is available on LinkedIn as well as on Instagram a lot. I see him a lot on Instagram, and I know he has a website as well. But you can find him there, Camacho Roberts. Thank you again to this panel for sharing your expertise. We really appreciate it, and we hope that it has made a very big impact on those persons who will listen in to and to make the change for and transition into the new year. Thank you.
My pleasure.